Hello, everybody. You have to excuse my hair. I have some stuff put on it, and I got to let it set for a while. And so I got it all wrapped up here because then I got to go wash it all out and do all the rest of my stuff. If I cut out here and there, I'm sorry, but we are having thunderstorms right now. Actually, it's not really a thunderstorm at the moment. It's uh, just a lot of rain, a lot of rain. We had thunderstorms earlier, but I guess I could say tonight now, Saturday night. Well, spring has arrived in Oklahoma because we have an extremely high chance of tornadoes setting down around here tonight. And that makes me pretty nervous. I mean, I like to chase them and everything, but I want to know where they're coming, where they're at, where they're going. Um, and I, me, just like anybody else that lives in Tornado Alley, you after you've been raised in it, you pretty much learn to, even if you know there's going to be a big event like that, which nowadays we do, thank goodness. A lot of us will go and grab stuff, like birth certificates, pictures, stuff that you don't want to lose again. Or also, a lot of people have had everything, in their lives, their entire everything, taken by tornadoes, and they can be pretty scary. So I start like right now, about 24 hours in advance, thinking already, where am I going to put my cats? Um, Pictures, stuff like that. I mean, save what I can in case it actually hits my house. Um, but that's just how it is living here. And it's actually starting pretty dang early this year. I mean, so I don't know what that's a sign of, but so I was planning on coming on tonight and doing my the video that I told y'all about the new moon video, about this is an excellent time to do your spells to attract things that you want in your life. And I had decided just to do it, earlier in the evening on Saturday evening, and just get all prepared tonight for it and have everything ready. But that's just not the way things have worked out because of the storm coming this way. So I doubt very seriously I'll even be on here at all tomorrow night. I might. I think the worst part of ours is going to be between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m., I believe, in my area. So I still, goddess willing, if I'm able to and all that, then I can come on here later on and still do my new moon spell. But even if you don't do it tonight or tomorrow night, you can still do it Sunday. Remember, you can always do things the day before, the day of, or the day after, or all three if you'd like. However you want to do it. But I have to tell y'all this, and it's kind of funny. My cat, my big cat, Jesse, he is huge. Okay. He weighs every bit of probably 25 pounds. And he's like the what I call the tiger cat. He's kind of the yellow with white on him. For the last 2 days straight, I got up the other morning, now yesterday morning, probably about, I don't know, 3 o'clock or somewhere in there to go to the bathroom. And when I've got, two gnomes sitting by my fireplace in my living room, Widget and Gadget. And he was sitting there just literally staring at Widget. And I kind of stopped because, whenever I come, right as soon as I come out of my bedroom, there's my fireplace. I mean, right on the same, it's backed up against the wall that my bedroom's on the other side of. And so that's the first thing I see, and I almost step on him. And I'm like, kind of stood there and looked at him for a minute. And he didn't even look my way. He was just, his eyes, he was just fixed on my little gnome that sits there. And so finally, I stood there for a while watching him. And finally I was like, Jesse. And it was like snapping him completely out of this trance. He just looked over at me real quick, and he's real talkative. He's real vocal. The most vocal cat I've ever had. I mean, he'll talk to you or try to. And I was like, what are you seeing? Is there something going on Mama can't see? And anyway, I just thought it was kind of strange. And he does it from a certain time of the morning to a certain time of the morning. Like right before I came on here, I went in there to get whatever I was getting out of my bedroom. And he's still sitting there. He's been sitting in that same spot staring at Widget for at least an hour now. Just fixed right on him like he's watching him. And I just think it's the oddest thing because he's never done that before that I have seen. So I don't know if my little gnomes are being active right now, or I don't know what's going on. It's just pretty strange because cats see things we don't. So, and I mean, he's still in there, and it don't matter what I do, I can't get him away from that area. It's just really strange. I'm gonna look and see if he's still sitting there in that same spot. I'm sure he is. Pretty strange. Oh my gosh. Now he's literally laid down in front with his chin on the feet of that gnome, asleep. Wow. I'm telling y'all, there's some interesting things that go on in this house. And like my Lexi, my little black one, she'll take off zooming, or like she'll be sitting here by me in the floor, and all of a sudden her ears will go forward, both of them. And then she'll walk up to the doorway of my kitchen, and she'll peek her head around the corner to the hallway that leads, well, to the bathroom, the music room, and then my altar room. And she won't leave the kitchen. She'll just look, and then she'll kind of put her head down and she'll start backing up like she's seeing something. And it freaks me out because it's not the spirits or the gods and goddesses that I'm afraid of. It's if somebody has actually come in my house that, was not invited. So, of course, I get up and I start checking things out. I don't know. It's just, it gets pretty weird around here sometimes. Um, those of y'all that know Dan, even he will sometimes say, "Did you hear that?" or "Did you see that?" or "What happened to that?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Just like all of my spoons are gone but one. They left me one damn spoon, one of my teaspoons, out of my silverware set. And nobody comes in this house, and they've been gone for a long time. I mean, a couple of years, several years now. And I just can't, for the life of me, figure out what happened to, three of my spoons. They just up and disappeared. Um, just really odd stuff like that. But then what do you expect? It's a witch's house. Hell, one of the fairies may came and got it, just, trying to play around with me. I don't know. But it is what it is. And, um, I was going to tell y'all too, I watched an interesting thing. I used to be a reader. I read all the time. I mean, I was a book fanatic. Every time you see me, if I wasn't studying or wasn't playing basketball or running track, or if I had any spare time at all, on the bus home from school, um, walking in between classes, I would have a book in my face. I read nonstop when I was younger. As I got older, I kind of stopped because other things started taking place in my life. But I still read, but then now as I've gotten older, my eyesight's not as good as it used to be. So I don't read much anymore unless it's to study or something like that. I mean, every once in a while I'll take a book. I'll get started on a book and I'll read it right before I go to sleep or something. But anyway, um, I don't know if any of y'all have ever read Dante's Inferno. I know there's a movie. I don't think that is the same movie that I'm thinking about. I mean, it's got to be somewhere in the vicinity, but I haven't ever watched the movie. I may have to check that out. But the book um, is pretty interesting. I haven't read it, but I've watched the reviews on it and uh, watched some people that talk about the highlights of it, and it's all about like Jason the Argonauts, their journey, and it'll kind of tell you about that a little bit, supposedly. But the main thing it is when Dante, I guess, goes down into hell and his experiences down there. What I find interesting is that you have all the gods and goddesses. You have every pantheon, mainly the Greeks, because Ovid, which was a Greek writer, um, pretty much put all this into motion. So it's kind of a Greek-based book. But the one thing that I don't understand is why. I mean, they'll talk about the gods and goddesses, but then they talk about God himself as in the Christian God, or like there's places in hell for the ones that blasphemed Jesus and stuff like that. I may have to read it now because it's kind of interesting that I don't think you'll ever find another book that has all that into one, like they're all a part of the same pantheon. You know what I'm saying? They put pretty much all the gods and goddesses together. Well, the Greek gods and the Christian God. And if any of y'all have actually read that, let me know. I've heard from some that it's kind of hard to read because it's, the way they put their words, like some Bibles are hard to read because it's all full of these, thous, and thus, and this, and, how they talked in Old English. So I really don't know. I was just curious if any of y'all had read it. But I mean, it's got a lot of metaphors, similes, and symbolisms in it. And what's interesting is excuse me, it's like anything else. Something's tickling my throat. Everything can be metaphoric depending on how you look at it, and it usually is. Or you can use it as a simile and things like that. But the ideas that you read, even from the Greek philosophers and the writers, they have a lot in common with the same authors of the Bible. They were all writers. So it makes you wonder, and there's a lot of similarities. I mean, I'm not going to go into all that because that would take, hours and hours and months of videos. But I think you get my drift that I'll just have to read the book and then tell y'all what I think about it. I read a lot of books that I don't necessarily, when I'm done with them, agree with them. That's my prerogative, whatever. I'm not the author. But because I'm pretty much stuck in the way I believe and the way I've been taught. Not that I'm not open to learning anything different by any means. I love to learn. But when they say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, you really can't. Because I've believed the same way and lived the same way for so long that it's pretty much a second nature to me now. I think I will get it just to see if I can read it. I mean, I've been told, like I said, it's kind of hard to read because of the way it's written. Now, I know there's a movie out, and I honestly don't know if it's about the same thing as the Greek book that I'm talking about. I don't know. And the guy that I seem to remember that plays in it is I can see him, but I cannot think of his name. Anyway, guess I should have looked that up. But yeah, maybe, if y'all want to read it and tell me about it, or whatever, just let me know what you think about it. There's another book too that I want to read. It's called 1001 Nights. I think that would be a good read for us too. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's right up our alley, I assure you, or I would be reading it. And also, I learned, another witch told me about this today. I know a lot of us, during this quarantine and stuff, you're stuck at home and you're like me, you get tired of cleaning and blah, 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 and doing the same old stuff. But you can still keep your brain busy. YouTube is, did y'all hear that thunder? Yes. Awesome. YouTube is full. I mean, it's just full of stuff. You can type anything in and learn about anything you want. So this is a really good time to do that. There is and I can't honestly. I got to thinking about this, and I'm pretty sure when she emailed me that she said YouTube, but you can look on both. You can either just type it in online, and look on YouTube. It's called Great Courses Plus. GREAT, Great Courses, COURSES Plus. And it has everything on there. Now, I'm pretty sure they said that it's a subscription channel that you have to pay for. After I think they give you a trial, run with it or whatever. But after the trial or whatever, then it becomes where you have to pay for it. And if you want to pay for it, fine. If you don't or can't afford it, I just thought I'd tell y'all about it. I'm going to check it out here probably in a little while if I don't completely lose my connection here because of the weather. But as y'all know, I don't usually talk about books and stuff. I might bring up a witchy book, but I just don't do that usually. And another thing, been getting a lot of emails from people about what herbs I can mix with what and do what, and for certain illnesses. Now, and I'm not discrediting witchcraft. Don't even think that. Don't go there with me. But if you have a diagnosed, and I've said this before, if you have a diagnosed illness and you are taking prescription medication prescribed by a doctor, do major research before you start mixing herbs together, even herbal teas. If you make your own teas at home, do your research and make sure that that herb will not mess with one of the medications you're taking. Okay. I've said this and I've said that on every one of my herb videos, and I'm getting emails about it. And I'm not saying either to stop taking your prescription meds and just, drink teas or concoct something in your witchy room to stop your depression. Okay, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm a firm believer, and the doctor knows more about it than you do. Okay, I don't care how long you've been a witch. We may know that certain herbs work for specific things, and we are tried and true about that. But there's some conditions that require medications. Okay, you are not a psychiatrist. You're not a doctor. Well, there may be some witches out there that are doctors. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. All walks of life contain witches. But do not go off and say to one of these herb stores and just buy all this stuff because the person in there is telling you, yeah, this is good for depression and this is good for menopause and yada, 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 because, first of all, you don't know where this person got their information. Um, that person also doesn't know what kind of prescription meds you might be on. There's so many reasons you need to research them herbs. And honestly, I mean, if you're going to ingest them, I would think and hope that you would seriously, seriously study them. Um, because you don't know what they might do. You don't know if you're going to have, and you won't anyway, if you're going to have some sort of allergic reaction to them or whatever. But I'm telling you, some of these herbs can and will affect your prescription meds. Either they'll knock them completely out of your system where they do you no good. Some of them mixed together can make you extremely sick, or bounce off walls because your internal system now, your mental system is completely so off kilter that you don't know what you're doing. So, I mean, I stress, you make damn sure that you research those herbs before you ingest them for any reason. Even the ones that make their own cheese. Um, and that's even without taking medications of any other kind. Seriously. Um, I just can't stress that enough. You need to make sure you do your research on every single herb that you're going to ingest. And I don't recommend, unless you know everything about that company that you're getting those herbs from, or unless you buy them fresh at a market somewhere, which some of those herbs, and depending on where you live, you can't possibly get your hands on some of these herbs that are fresh. Um, I mean, there's just too many of them, and they're scattered all over the world. So, I mean, you honestly can get some of this stuff at Walmart. You know, um, you're like your ginger root. I believe they had a. I think it was ginger root I seen, because I remember thinking ginger root. Uh, Certain parts of it is poisonous. So if they're selling it, then I guess they must know that, or they wouldn't have it on the shelf, right? I don't know. But I know they sell fresh parsley and your regular everyday cooking herbs, which are very good witch herbs too. Sage, goes in dressing at your Thanksgiving dinner. Um, but yeah, please do not ingest any of these herbs. And I've said that before, probably 100 times. But as I said, I'm still getting emails about it. So yeah, and know where you get them from. Research the company that you buy them from if you buy online. Um, I'm sure there's a lot of good ones out there, but then I'm sure there's a lot of them that will, screw you over too. I mean, if you'll look at some of those herbs when they're dried out, they look the same. So how do you know that they're not just sending you a bunch of weeds, dried out weeds? Do your research, look at the reviews of the company and stuff like that before you even buy in the first place. Because if you're just gonna do a spell, you're not ingesting it, and your spell calls for, say, rosemary, and you purchase this, what you think is rosemary, you go in there to, I don't know, maybe give it as an offering to your goddess or to cleanse with or whatever you're doing with it. And come to find out it's not rosemary at all. It's just dandelion weed or grass. I mean, people are not honest anymore. Unfortunately, we have got to realize that. They're just not honest people anymore. A lot of them aren't. There's some that still are, but anything to make a buck nowadays. And, people that order herbs, the first thing most people think of is that's a witch. Well, I don't like them anyway. You know, yeah, she's a witch. Ha ha ha. Let's see what she does with this. I could just hear them, you know. And it's not just witches that use herbs. There's people, holistic people, old fashioned people, whatever all kinds of walks of people that use fresh herbs to cook with or to do things with that do not identify as witches. So, but I will give y'all one name that I have ordered from and I haven't ever had a bad experience, and that's Mountain Rose Herbs. Um, they don't hide anything, you can learn anything you want about their company. Hi, Lady Blind Wolf. Unfortunately, shipping and handling is outrageous. So, and I think that's on anything, even if you order off Amazon or whatever. I used to order from this one. She's, I'm not going to say the name, but she's a witch and she has herbs. And I know she's trying to make a living, but she'll sell the little, they might be 4 ounces of the herb, but they're like $2 a piece. And they come in, the little plastic baggies. And the herb, they're $3. The herb might cost you $3, but it'll cost you 12 to get it sent to you. I was like, yeah, something's wrong with that picture. And it's because she goes through Amazon. So, and nothing against Amazon, they got to make money too. I love Amazon, but the shipping and handling is outrageous. Now, if you go to that Amazon Prime and pay that $109 every year, then you can get free shipping and stuff like that. And that would be worth it if you were someone that ordered, well, at least once a month, which I don't. I usually get one big, huge order, like my incense, my candles, or whatever I'm needing to stock up my supplies with, candle wax, if I'm, my candle jars, my wicks, stuff for my candles to make them. But I usually get it all in one big bulk. And then I'm done for pretty much the rest of the year. And I'm also bad about looking at it, though. I'll sit here and be bored, and I'll decide to go shopping on Amazon. And that's a no-no. I shouldn't do that. Because I buy stuff I really don't need, I could do without. I just don't want to. Before I know it, there goes all my money. So, what are you doing, Lady Blonde Wolf? I had to get on here and tell you all about my cat that's freaked out about my gnome in there. And that gnome's been here forever, and he just started doing this stuff like in the last 48 hours. Are you smoking a cigarette? Yeah. I'll smoke one with you. Well, I can get open. Yeah, we're having thunderstorms here tonight. Not real bad at all, just a lot of rain. I bet you. I bet you have a say messing with it. I don't know what's going on in there, but I just looked a minute ago again, and Jesse's laying there right in front of it with his head down, like this on the feet of that gnome now. I don't know. I need to finish getting this house cleaned up and saged. Is what I need to be doing. I just don't have the energy or the want to or something right now. I don't know. I don't know what's up with me. Let me see if he's still there. Yep, he's still there. Both of my cats are so weird too. I mean, they'll lay in their own spots throughout the house until I get ready to go to bed, and then here they come. They won't. I mean, sometimes they'll go in there without me, but not very often. I don't get it. Yeah, I put some oil that I make up with herbs in my hair, and I'll give y'all my secret sometime if you want me to. But and I let it usually set for, I don't know, 24 hours or so. If I know I'm not going to go anywhere, and I would go out like this anyway, I don't care. I've seen people go out looking a lot worse. Mommy's cat of my kids, she hates it when there's a closed bedroom door. He will sit there and howl until he is like, yeah, that's how Lexi was when she's a kitten. I have the carpet in front of my bedroom door is just shredded because when she was little, I'd have to put her outside my room because when I'd be ready to go to bed, she'd want to play. And that's back when, I had to get up and be at work at 5:40, clocked in at 5:45 in the morning, and I had to sleep. And she wanted to bounce off the walls, and every time I moved, she'd attack my toes, and I had to put her out. But then I finally, after she's doing that, she'd sit there forever and scratch on the door and the carpet and meow, meow, and whine and cry. And I finally just let her in. I haven't ever had a cat so attached to me as Lexi is. She is definitely attached to me. He is 4 years old. Yeah. I was trying to figure out how old Jesse was because he was here when I moved here. I got him right before I had my heart attack in 2016, November of 2016. So it's, wow, been over 4 years now. But when I got home, I mean, he was still an outside cat then, but when I got home from the hospital, he was sitting on my front porch. Like he'd been waiting on me that whole time, and I was gone for, 5 days in the hospital? But I've kept him ever since. And he'd get up there, he'd put his paws, and my chest was so sore from them doing compressions and stuff and using the paddles on me. And I was just really sore. And he'd lay beside me and put his paws on me like he was, hanging on, holding on to my chest. But he was full grown when I got him, and he belonged to somebody else. Hi, Aiden. I'm pretty good. How are you? But he was full grown when I got him, and I've had him for well ever since I've been here, so going on 5 years. So I don't know how old he really is. I'd say he's probably at least 7, maybe even 8. But he's got this here lately. He's been acting kind of funny. I don't know if he's going senile on me or whatever, but that's why it kind of freaked me out when he's standing there staring at my gnome. And he's been doing it for the last 2 days now. And now he's sleeping in front of it. That's where he's been sleeping. I've had him for 2 years, and he knows that he is one of the bosses of the house. Yeah. The Chihuahua gets irate whenever the cats get in her territory and take away attention from. Oh yeah, I know. Them little Chihuahuas are vicious. Can you imagine if they were bigger dogs with their temper? But I don't know why anything surprises me in this house. I mean, it is a witch's house. Things are going to happen. Odd things. I'm okay, just worried about my health. I'm tired of being tired all the time. It's pretty scary when I can barely keep my eyes open driving home. Yeah. When's the last time you had a physical and some, just routine blood work done? I mean, seriously, you could be anemic and it's, fixable. Aiden is almost 3. Her is over a year. Yeah, so, yeah. Lexi just turned 3. I can't believe I've already had her for over 3 years. Man, time's flying. Are you kidding me? She's tried to take on a Great Dane, a Rottweiler, and a horse. That's what I'm saying. Them little Chihuahuas are badasses. If their temper, gumption, and bravery was in a bigger dog, it'd be the most dangerous dog on the earth. I don't really do doctors, but I'm actually thinking about getting my blood work done and going to a professional herbalist. Yeah, well, you need to just to check it out. And I was just talking about that earlier. Do not replace herbs and doctor yourself, mister. Because if you're anemic, you need iron. And yeah, there's an herb out there with iron in it, or a plant. It's called spinach. You may need a vitamin, you know. Man, it is really thundering out there, you guys. Hey, Aiden, did you get any tornadic weather where you're at in Texas? Thunderstorms? We're getting shit here, and it's going to be this way for 48 hours off and on. All of yours are rescues? Yeah. Oh, well, you wear nights and sleep during the day. Vitamin D might be. Yeah, that's true too. And vitamin D helps absorb calcium. So I don't know. I don't know. Ugh, bit off part of your lip. Oh my. Wow. That sucks. I get on the kids all the time about Chihuahua getting in their faces. I would pet it, but that was just about it. But I heard about pups and I just went to go look with my kid. Yeah, that's why I don't go look because I'm going to get, I know me. Yeah, I just wish I could trust doctors more. They're so ignorant, it makes me sick. Yeah, a lot of them are, Aiden. I know. But then there's really a lot of good ones and smart ones out there. And lab work, isn't going to lie. It's pretty easy to get blood drawn, get it tested, and the results are there. Anybody knows how to read them can read them. It doesn't have to be a doctor. Just make sure have them do a panel on you. A CBC. They'll usually do a CBC, which is your cell blood count. Which a CBC which I would think might throw a hint that you're anemic. It's really getting out there. I'm surprised y'all can't hear that thunder. Well, they're not supposed to be that way. They're not supposed to be that way at all. I mean, they've taken an oath, and it don't matter what color you are, who you are, um, what gender you are. I couldn't even get constantly that dog in that situation. I was about to get in trouble for running. Oh yeah, he's trying to get rid of all the pups. He's even trying to get rid of 3-week-old kittens. See, I would have had to taken all them kittens. Damn, I'm bad about that. Lady Blonde. I'm honestly not supposed to be smoking in my house either, but I do it. If I actually really decide to move out, I'll just repaint it myself. Because I ain't about to walk out in this windy ass weather here just to smoke. I like to be comfortable. I don't think I'm anemic. I think, oh, you think you're diabetic? Well, then you better get checked out. I mean, I shouldn't have to tell you what untreated diabetes can do to you. You can go blind, you can lose limbs, and even die. You need to go have a glucose tolerance test done. Does diabetes run in your family? Did your mom or dad or grandmother have it? Because the only other way that without getting it, well, there's 3 different stages. And there's even something known as gestational diabetes when women that are carrying babies have diabetes while they're pregnant, but the minute they give birth, they go back to normal. It's a pretty weird deal. Because I had gestational diabetes with my daughter, but I didn't with my son. But she has the RH blood factor, and I have no idea where she got that because I'm O positive and her dad's was O negative. So she should have had O type blood. It would probably have been negative. But she's got RH positive blood. Yeah. I don't have any idea. Honestly, I already planned on dying younger than most, and yes, almost everyone on my mom's side has. Well, then you have a damn good chance of having it, then, sweetie. I mean, there's different types of diabetes too. You've got the kind that can be just controlled by diet. That's type A, I believe. I haven't had to talk about it in a long time. And then you've got acquired diabetes, which can hit at any given time, but it's usually around midlife after a whole life of um, doing nothing but drinking a shit ton of sugar and eating like mega sweets all the time. And, yeah, there's top 1, 2, and 3. That's what I'm trying to think of. For some reason, I got the Hep thing going here. It's Hep A, B, or C. I don't know. My head gets so clouded with medical crap sometimes that I have to stop and think. That's what my dad had. Type 2 diabetes. So, I mean, a lot of times type 2, they can control it with their diet. Type 1 definitely can. And then type 2 usually, has to have insulin here and there. Type 3 definitely has to have insulin. Um, I don't think so, Aiden. Now, indirectly, it could be. I mean, stress makes you do a lot of things, makes you drink. Alcohol's full of sugar. Makes you eat all the time, things that are full of sugar. But as far as no, not directly. Just because you're stressed out isn't going to mean that you're diabetic. No. Now, like I said, if you're eating a pound of donuts and drinking 6-liter bottles of pop every day and a cake, and you know what I mean, because of stress, then that's indirectly yes, but without help, no, you can't. You wouldn't. Stress wouldn't cause it. Yeah, he did, and he was reading it correctly because you couldn't get proper medical care, and he died of a heart attack. Wow. I guess he had it in his sleep because my son and I found him dead. Oh, that's so sad. You know, one way you can look at that though is, that's not a bad way to go at all. He probably never really felt a thing, and he was already asleep and peaceful, so probably, never even knew it. I'll tell you the most horrifying thing I had seen in a very long time was this girl, young girl. She was like, gosh, 29 years old. She worked at a nursing home that I was working at, and she worked in the kitchen. And one night, I was off, and she was my friend on Facebook, and she kept talking about having heartburn. She kept saying, "Man, I cannot get rid of this heartburn," and blah blah blah, and I was talking to her for a little bit, and I don't know why. Actually, I did tell her. I typed in on Messenger. I said, "You need to go. You need to get to the hospital." I said, because it hadn't been too long before that I had my heart attack, and that's exactly what I thought I had, was heartburn. And I have a major history for years and years and years of heartburn and a reflux. And I mean, mine's hurt so bad that I've had to go to ER and get what we back then called a green lizard. It's like Donatol, Gaviscon, and lidocaine. Stuff that you swallow. It relieves the acid and it numbs your esophagus and your upper digestive area so that that acid isn't, burning you alive. Pretty much is what it feels like, coming up in your throat and in your ears, and it's just horrible. But I told her, I said, you need to go and get that looked at. And then I got up and went to work the next day, and her brother worked there too, and he wasn't there. I didn't ever think nothing of it, neither one of them were at work. But then a lot of times I didn't pay attention to the kitchen people unless I had to talk to them, or um, I don't mean to put it like that. I was too busy to notice who had showed up and who hadn't, um, especially around a mealtime. But uh, then later on that night, it came across my Facebook that she had her brother had went over there that morning to get her for work, and she had died right there in her bed from a heart attack. I already have undiagnosed fibromyalgia. Yeah, that fibromyalgia is painful. Do they have you on anything for that? I'm trying to think of that Mobic. A lot of times they'll give Mobic for that, or the generic, which is meloxicam. My son was 12. It messed him up bad. Yeah, I bet. That's not something a 12-year-old needs to see. Anyone needs to see, for that matter. I just got. I was just extremely lucky with mine. Um, I had so many things going in my favor that night. I just can't even stress how lucky I really was, because the type of heart attack that I had would have killed most people instantly. And and I was living by myself at the time, and it just so happened that my best friend, or I guess you could also call him my second dad, had drove up here to stay the weekend with me, and he had ordered pizza that night. And of course I was tired because I'd worked all day, and it was about 9 o'clock or so. And I said, well, I'm gonna go in there, and I'm just tired. I ate my salad and I didn't eat any pizza because I just didn't feel good. It wasn't that I felt bad, I just felt really tired. And then I started feeling that little like heartburn, you know. And I went in there and laid down, and it got worse and worse, and eventually it was getting to where I couldn't hardly breathe. And he had just went in the other room, went in there and went to bed, and I had to go wake him up. I'm glad he was here, though, to take me to the hospital, because I was probably at the hospital for maybe, they got me in from the waiting room pretty fast, but I was probably in the room for maybe 15 minutes, and I flatlined. Next thing I know, I wake up and there's a nurse on top of me, and everybody's running around, and I didn't know what had happened. And finally the doctor came out and looked down at my face and said, you've had a heart attack. And I'm like, What? Seriously? Next time I wake up, I'm in the heart hospital in Oklahoma City. It was a mess. I take no medication for anything because I refuse to take anything that has major negative side. Well, I guess it's like anything else, you take your chances with everything, but um, and I do know because y'all know I'm a medication nurse, and if you read all the things that could happen to you with any medication that you take, all the possible side effects, adverse reactions, and blah blah blah, you'll never take anything. But you also have to understand they have to put that on those bottles because at one time or another, it might have been 1 in 1 trillion people had this happen to them. The FDA still has to record that and still has to put that on that bottle just in case it happens to you. And it's probably not going to. The benefits of the med outweigh the uh, worries of one. Like my Plavix and all the crap I have to take. There's always side effects to stuff, or things that could happen because of being on, like blood thinners. Um, it can eventually something go wrong inside your body and cause a major bleed, and you don't even know that you're bleeding internally until it's pretty much too late. You know, um, but what are you going to do? Sit around. Well, I'm afraid this is going to happen, so I don't want to take that. But you also know that if you don't take it, you're definitely going to have another heart attack. You just kind of have to outweigh stuff. Something that definitely is going to happen if you don't take it, and something that might happen if do. It feel worse for taking it causes me to have even more health problems. Yeah, and I don't blame you, Aiden. I mean, uh, there's a lot of things out there you can get addicted to, but if you have diabetes, you're not going to get addicted to insulin, honey. And you need that insulin if you're diabetic because so many other things can happen if you don't have your insulin. You can go blind. You can go into kidney failure, lose limbs, feet. Usually it's their feet that have to be cut off because, diabetics don't heal well. They get a cut or something, and what might take me and you a week for it to heal completely up, it take a diabetic 6 months, depending on how bad of a diabetic they are. I've had bleeding stomach ulcers several times just from blood thinners. Huh. Yeah, I mean that could happen too. If one of those little arteries or um, corpuscles or whatever in your stomach bursts, or what could be just a tiny little bleed that'll heal itself from a tiny little, vein, um, could turn into a major deal if you're on blood thinners. And that's what I have to watch out for because I've had 3 ulcers already in my time, and so I'm pretty susceptible to them. But I take um, stomach meds for that too, and of course, um, when I first started having to take stomach pills, it was Tagamet that was on the market. That's what all the doctors were prescribing. So I took Tagamet. Then they took that off the market. And Zantac used to be prescription only. And they made that to where it was an OTC and over the counter med. And so I started taking the Zantac when the Tagamet went out. So needless to say, I've been taking Zantac since I was, well, I don't know, 22, 23. And I'm 53, so at least 30 years I took Zantac, and now they're saying it causes stomach cancer. But mainly, I mean, I would take that until I got tired of taking so many pills, because I can buy the Prilosec, which also used to be prescription only, and it went to OTC. And so I can take, I'll take my Prilosec, or even like right now I'm taking Prevacid because it was given to me, free, and that stuff's expensive. So I mean, it's still an acid reducer, so I've been taking that, and I'll take that until it's gone. But yeah, I've always had to take something for my stomach. It's like, really? You're gonna tell me I survived this major heart attack, and now I'm gonna die of stomach cancer because of a damn from trying to keep heartburn down? Keep it away from me. Knock on wood. I mean, as far as I know, I don't have stomach cancer, but and I'm pretty sure I've taken care of 3 different people with stomach cancer, and that's just horrible. It's just horrible. One thing about it though is they don't usually suffer very long. Maybe a month, literally 30 days, and usually, within that time span. My grandmother had it, and my grandpa actually paid for a transplant with a sheep stomach to put in her, and it actually worked for a little while, and then everything, her body just rejected it. It's just all of a sudden everything started going wrong, and she died anyway. Yeah, so that stomach cancer is a mean, badass thing. Horrible. Of course, any cancer is horrible, but there are some cancers that are even more painful than others, I assure you. I think, in my opinion, from what I've seen from patients, stomach cancer and bone cancer are the worst 2 I've seen. It's just horrible. But anyway, at least go to the doctor and get blood work done, Aiden. Mama said, the old crone said, that way, and get a glucose tolerance test. Tell the doctor, hey, most of them, if you go in there and tell them what you want, and they, will probably agree with you. You have a history of diabetes in the family, and you're starting to be symptomatic. I mean, do you, well, I know all the symptoms. Do you feel real thirsty all the time? Or, like, do you get sweaty? I mean, everybody gets sweaty, but I mean, it's a different kind. It's like beaded perspiration for no reason. I'm worried because I just can't afford to pay for all these tests and crap. Well, I know that that's expensive too. So you don't have insurance through your job? Well, and you can, most of them will let you pay it out. But, it's either go in and explain to them, look, I need these tests done. I'll have to pay it out. I mean, it beats, trying to come up with all that money for a funeral. But no, I don't sweat off it, and yes, I have insurance. Well, there you go. Use your insurance. I mean, because you may just be starting to acquire it. You see what I'm saying? And if you catch it now, there's a big chance you may not even have to take insulin, depending on how progressed it is, or you may not have it at all. But seeing how it seems like it runs in your family, you could your chances right there of having it go up to, well, they're way up there eventually. But you need to get it checked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pre-diabetic. Pre-diabetic, and it sucks. Yeah, I know. It'll be all right though. I mean, it's manageable. You know, I mean, you'll be all right. The toothache I'm starting to get here. But yeah, you need to go get some blood work done and get a glucose tolerance test. I'd get the glucose tolerance test first. Now that you told me you're diabetic, that'd save you a lot of money right there. Because if that glucose tolerance test comes back uh, high, then there you have it. And of course, the doctor may order a routine blood test anyway, just to check. I don't want to pay for expensive medications and tests. Well, and there's people that'll help you with that too. They'll go by your income, and you'll get your. A lot of times they just give you the test strips and the finger sticks. And like I said, you may not even have to take insulin if you catch it now. Seriously, you can just control it by your diet. Watch what you eat, and drink, depending on how progressed it is or isn't. And you may not have it at all, but you do need to keep a checkup on it since how it runs in your family. Because I plan on us all going to Salem one day, and I want you to be well enough to go with us. Hear me? Man, y'all, it is really getting it out there now. We're going to get a lot of rain out of this system. If you have type 2, it's just a matter of exercise and diet, and you won't even have to mess with insulin. No, type 2, you have insulin. It's type 1 that you don't need the insulin. I mean, you may not have to take as much insulin, but yes, you will. You'll have PRN insulin and all that. They'll still prescribe you insulin. Then type 3, it doesn't matter. You're on insulin. But first of all, he's got to get to the damn doctor to see if for sure that's what he has. Which it sounds like to me with his symptoms and the fact that it runs in his family, he could very easily, that could be what's wrong. He's very much a candidate for it. Yeah, this storm we're getting came up from Texas. That's why I asked Aiden earlier. I don't guess you heard me. Are you getting storms there where you're at? And earlier here, we go. Yeah, us too. That's why all these systems now are starting to raise hell. Because the upper air is a lot colder than the lower air, and that's what causes tornadoes, or vice versa. Whoa, that was a big one. That's a long roll of thunder too. But this thing came up from the panhandle of Texas. I'm just not. I don't remember on the radar how far down into Texas it went. I'm pretty sure it's down towards Dallas and all that because it came straight across and it's going through my part of Oklahoma and uh, further south down to like Altus and Lawton. So it would have been down around there, by Dallas too. I'm just not sure how much further back into Texas it went. I'd have to look at the radar again. But I don't think it went any further than that, to be honest, because they would just show the panhandle and then my part of Oklahoma. But tonight, between like Saturday evening, between 4 and probably 9 o'clock tonight, is when we're under the gun. We have like a 60 to 70% chance of a tornado. That's pretty high up there on the scale, Vegeta scale. So that's why I was saying earlier I need to start getting my game plan going. So because it doesn't freak me out so bad because it's the fact that it's not just me I have to watch out for and hide. My son will be here, his girlfriend, my 2 cats, my boyfriend, you know. Yeah, they're no joke anywhere, Lady Blind Wolf. Them suckers are serious business. They're beautiful. I love watching them on TV or on a video, but I really don't like being right with them. And now that I'm older and slower, I guess the older you get, you're just so much. I don't know if it's because you actually develop fear or what, but I mean, there's things that I did when I was younger, even up into my 30s that I just cannot believe I've done now and I would never do again. It's like, are you kidding me? I actually used to do that. And my deal is now whenever I used to go chase tornadoes, chase the storms, it was different because I knew pretty much exactly where they were and probably where they were going to come down at if they were. And I could stay on the safe side of them. When I'm just sitting in this house and I am watching the radar on the news, I can't see well enough, through all the trees here to watch the skies like I want to. Right. And see, that's my issue though. I mean, I cannot put, if I put my two cats somewhere, locked them in a closet, or, did not lock them in there, but put them in there and shut the doors, um, they would be livid. I mean, they'd be scratching at the door, scratching at the carpet underneath the door, trying to get out of there unless I was in there with them. And I don't want to really wait till the last minute to go throwing them into stuff. And I don't want to be in a closet. I've been through tornadoes, and some of them you better be damn glad you wasn't in that house at all. Because the bad part about it is you don't know what scale they're on until they've hit. I mean, nowadays with all the radar and stuff that we have, we're actually extremely lucky because that weatherman can pretty much tell you what's gathering and the wind speeds, and they can pretty much, especially the experienced ones, they can tell you just about how big that tornado is. Because some people do take cover in their homes, in a closet, or you know, um, in their bathtub. Well, and if it's an F5 and it hits your house, it's not going to make a damn where in that house you were. See what I mean? So it really helps to know what scale of a tornado it could or might be. And my daughter has a cellar, but um, I'm sure it's not cleaned out. They don't ever go in it, which it aggravates me. Now, no, it was the year after I moved down here, and I moved here in 2016. So in 17, we actually had a tornado come through here. It was headed to where it was gonna come straight down the middle of Elk City, but it veered south and hit the south side out by the golf course and all these big nice homes, and actually out there where my landlord lives. And it was pretty rough over in that area. And it wasn't even a very big one. It was I'd say it was an F3, but big enough to do some major damage, you know. So just thank goodness, not that I know of or remember that anyone got killed. But we had been watching it coming up from Texas, and we knew it was going to hit here. Well, we knew we had a major chance of it one hitting, but just like tonight, everybody here already knows, and we did at 6 o'clock last night, that today between 4 o'clock and 9 p.m. we could have a tornado. So people have a lot of time to prepare. The problem is everybody says, oh, it's not going to hit. And they really just put it off, like it's nothing. And then boom, unfortunately, one does hit, and it's too late to do anything then when it really does touch down and it's there. So, of course, I grew up in Texas in the South Plains, and one would touch down there, and that sucker could be literally on the ground for an hour because it's flat land, no trees, no water, absolutely nothing to detour it. It'd come down, start out as a little bitty thing, and before you know it, it'd be a mile wide because it stayed on the ground so long, gathering momentum and energy. I love them, but I hate them. Does that make sense? I mean, I love to watch them, study them, but I don't want one that close to me, at least to where I don't, if I know where it is, it's a lot better. But then I worry about the people it's heading towards, you know what I mean? And the animals, the cattle, the horses and all that have to be outside. I mean, where are they going to run to? That's why they usually go to the fence. But my theory on that is they don't go to the fence for any other reason. They would probably keep going to get away from that damn thing if the fence wasn't there. The fence stops them. So that's real bad. And of course, during the springtime, you've got them all calving and foaling and all that stuff. And then you got babies you got to worry about and tornadoes blowing them away. And it's just a mess. But I already called my son and I told him, I said, you be at my house tomorrow at 3:00, and I mean it. Just simply because I want to make sure that he's okay. As far as I know, he himself hadn't been through one, and I hope this ain't going to be the first time. But it would just make me feel better knowing that I knew where he was and he was with me. And my daughter is different. She's got a husband. She's got a cellar. If we absolutely had to, and that year that one hit here is the first time I've been to a cellar here, and I haven't been to one since. Knock on wood. And I could hear that. When we was walking out of her house to the shelter, I kept looking around in the sky, just waiting any second to see one dropping down because of the sound that they make. And I was like, and I'm a weather witch. I'm a storm witch. But even witches, we have to understand we're human. We are not powerful gods and goddesses. We're not Mother Nature. And the minute you stand up to her, and say, hey, I'm here, she's got her own thing to do. And your best bet is to not get in the way. Now, I have been known to, put the eggshells and the rosemary and all that around my entire property outside. And, that's my protection. That's what I do. But, if you see one coming and it's, pretty much in your yard, don't stand there and try to fight it like you're a badass, okay? Because you're human, and I guarantee you the gods and goddesses are probably sitting there laughing at you like, foolish human, use common sense. This is happening. Hide. Get away from it. You're not going to stop it. I don't know. And usually this time of year too, I mean, I have a certain crystal planted out in front of my house where what used to be a little flower garden. And I did an incantation on that crystal and planted it down in there for the Morrigan. And I don't even hardly ever work with the Morrigan. But she's really good for, storms and protection from them and stuff like that. And so is, of course, Hecate. But at that time, I'd been studying on the Morrigan anyway. So, and actually the Morrigan is a lot like Hecate. You would think that they're the same goddess, except for the moon thing. They really have a lot of things in common. Where are we at? Where I was living, we had issues with flooding, but now we don't live that far from the Wabash. So, yeah. Better watch that river. Luckily, I'm in at the curious spot in North Texas, so I don't usually have to worry about it. Precarious spot. Well, that's good, Aiden. I'm glad that you'll be okay. Yeah, we lived in a trailer park and had to leave our trailer quite a few times. Yeah. Because hell, even an F1 tornado, and they only pack about 70-mile-an-hour winds, 75, they can get up to 100. But, you know, here in Oklahoma, this part I live in, it is nothing for us to have 60-mile-an-hour winds, even 70, with not a tornado anywhere in sight, clear blue skies, and the winds are still blowing like hell. So I don't know why anybody would want to live in a trailer house. I mean, I've lived in several of them myself, but I won't again unless I absolutely don't have a choice. You know, they are just definitely not sturdy enough. Screw it, I'll just tell you autocorrect. I'm a weather witch. I'll just deflect tornadoes with my mind. Okay, Aiden, I just talked about that. You can do your best, but if that thing's put there for a reason and on a journey and it's on a mission, you're not going to stop it. You can protect yourself, hopefully, you know, but you're not going to stop it by no means. That's why you do it beforehand, so it doesn't come anywhere near you. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I think it's green fluorite that I have out there in my yard. I know it's a green heart, kind of big and really thick that I planted out there, and I honestly cannot remember. It's not jade. I think it's fluorite that I put out there. I really can't remember now. Which is are stronger than tornadoes because that's what real life is like. Yeah. Tornadoes are really symbolic, aren't they? I mean, if you had to picture somebody going through their life struggles, you would, picture a tornado, wouldn't you? Or, having tumulus or turmoilous, you know what I'm trying to say, times, tumulus times. Then you just automatically picture, your life spinning around. And the biggest problem is most of them are rain wrapped. I mean, you get these pictures and you see these tornadoes come down out of a beautiful blue sky, except for the cloud itself that's coming down, and everything else around it's pretty clear. But most of the time, that one was loud too. Most of the time they are rain wrapped. There's so much rain going on at the same time that you can't actually make the tornado out in the daytime, much less at night. That's what makes me so nervous is when they happen at night and you can't friggin' see. Can't watch for wall clouds. You just there's nothing you can do but watch your weatherman. And I mean, think about it. If it's a real bad storm, bad enough to that you could have possible tornadoes, then it also means that your electricity could probably go out, and then you can't watch anything because you don't have any electricity. I'll have weather alerts and shit on my phone though. It'll go off like you wouldn't believe. Scare the hell out of you. Honestly, if I would wiggle my nose and have a few million in the bank, if I did, yeah, I'd like to see that. A vitrine is green too. I've never heard of a vitrine. A vitrine. Or did you mean to say citrine? Funny, I have some rainbow flora, but it looks more green. It has stuff in it. It looks like sticks and such inside. Oh, how neat. Huh. Very well could be sticks. Or it may have a little bit of smoky quartz wrapped up in there with it, which would kind of look like sticks if it was, inside something like that. But anyway, that's what I have all set up for tomorrow is the new moon ritual for y'all. And I'm going to have to be watching the weather tomorrow night, so I don't even know if I'll come on here at all. I guess we'll see. I was already thinking this house is it's old. And I mean, hell, there's no insulation in it. It's a cold, old house. And the walls, I mean, I can sit in my bedroom, in my bed, and feel the north wind, on that north wall behind me, just blowing through there. It gets so cold. So, I mean, if that little bitty bit of wind can blow through it, 100-mile-an-hour wind would definitely do some damage, much less a, 261-mile-an-hour wind. I don't know. We can just hope for the best, I guess. I mean, and it's just what surprised me is it's happening so early this year. I mean, here it is only March 12th, and today, we've had yesterday now, we've already had our first major thunderstorm. Damn. Now that just hit something. Holy shit. Did y'all hear that? I hate lightning. And I really don't like it when it strikes the trees. Just makes me so sad for that tree. And it struck horses standing out in the middle of the fields and cattle. And if I'm afraid of anything, it's lightning. I just don't like it. I like a sitting duck when it's going around. Adventurine, yeah, green adventurine. That may be what I have out there. I think that's what I have out there. I don't know. It's been buried out there since I moved here, since that first summer. So, I guess it's still out there. I mean, even if the rain would have washed it up, I would see it because it's not at a part of the house where it would float away. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what adventuring is. It's just the way that you typed it up there. It's a space and then it has vitrine, so I wasn't sure exactly what you were talking about. But yeah, I know green adventuring. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, it's getting pretty noisy out there. I love y'all, and I think I'm going to get off here in case lightning does strike somewhere close like that again. I don't want it frying my computer. So I'll probably turn my computer off unless my phone goes off. And then I'll just unplug my computer and it won't be attached to the electricity. It'll just run on my battery. So I can watch the news or the weather. All right, you guys. I will try to come on here tomorrow evening. I don't, by the sounds of the weather, the way it's going to be, I probably won't. So we'll see. All right. Blessed be. Bye bye.